Welcome back to the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell. This week's special guest is Sarah Larner, a straight-talking businesswoman whose story is one of pure resilience and drive. From struggling in school with dyslexia to running multiple businesses and making her first million. Sarah's journey hasn't been easy. She opens up the highs and lows of entrepreneurship and how she's built success through hard work, obsession and self-belief. Thanks for listening and watching this episode.
If I had the head start in school and college, I could have been even more successful than I am now. When you are building a business, there becomes points in that business where it might not be ethical. But if it's money is the end goal, then things sometimes go out the window.
Well, it's the Good, the Bad and the Ugly podcast with me, Tony Murrell, and this week's special guest is Sarah Larner. Really looking forward to sharing the Good, the Bad and the Ugly. How are we?
I'm good, thank you so much for having me.
And thank you very much for coming, Sarah. Your stories are quite simply a mind-blowing one. A story of the good, the bad and the ugly, literally.
Absolutely.
A life of catastrophic events, but how you fix it.
Mm-hmm.
The story behind it. And a quote that I see, on your socials is, I could tell you about me, but you won't understand.
Yeah.
But today we are going to understand. So let's get right into it. Where you're from, where you grew up and family life was like, school life?
So I grew up in Manchester, so always lived in Manchester. Proper normal family growing up. Me, my sister, my little brother, mum and dad. My dad's always been like, we've always grew up in a house where we've had businesses. So not like your normal 9-to-5 workers. Always, my dad's been out from 5 in the morning, not coming back for a couple of days, working, coming home, muddy boots, like the whole really bad grafter.
Tough grafter, going out and, that's what it's about, innit? Going out grafting and stuff and getting... And you learn that from an early age, that's what you know what I mean? It's like grafting and stuff, like going out to work from 5 in the morning till God knows when, you know what I mean?
Yeah, always seeing that my mum was always at home, so she was always able to have such a nice life because from what I knew as a kid, my dad went to work. So he looked after us all. He was the main breadwinner and I always grew up thinking that's what men are supposed to do.
Yeah.
But little I turned into the man.
Yeah. So you got a brother and sister, did you say?
Yes, I've got an older sister and a younger brother.
Yeah, what was that like growing up?
Me and my sister were dead close growing up. My brother is a lot younger than us, so he kind of came into our life during the bad times. So like our normal life when we was younger, we just normal like nice life. But then my poor brother got brought into it whilst things was kind of like on
With the madness and stuff.
Yeah, so he's had a bit of a different upbringing than me.
Yeah, so it's like school and stuff like that. You and your sister, what was that like school time for you and stuff?
Primary was fine. I think my personality kind of come alive during the madness, but even before that I would never really fit in school. So like I said, in high school I got kicked out when I was 13. Actually got kicked out of 2 schools, not because I was naughty, but it was more I just never fit. I've never fit in school or like friend groups. I've always kind of been 10 steps ahead of the age or the era that I was in. So
yeah. Was it hard to like, was you good at schoolwork and stuff like that, or was it like, or was you just...
Oh no, I don't think I've ever even wrote my name on a piece of paper. I never had a book that I ever wrote in. Because I didn't understand that I had ADHD and dyslexia in school, I was just kind of like disregarded. But really, if someone would have helped me then, because I can write now, but when I was in school, they'd put it in front of me, I'd have to get kicked out instead. So I'd play up, so then I'm on the other side of the door because I don't want anyone to look that I actually physically can't write anything or do the work that they want me to do. So I'd rather be naughty. Yeah,
and like you say, it wasn't picked up until like later on in life and stuff like that.
Yeah, I found out that I had dyslexia when I was in university. So I ended up going to uni as an adult for a business that I wanted to do. And it was them who said, Sarah, what have you been doing all this time? And I'm like, what do you mean? Isn't this just normal? And they said, no, can you see with like special colours and stuff like that? Anyway, I got diagnosed with dyslexia. And then when I could when they gave me the right equipment, I thought, oh my God, no wonder I've struggled all these years, because when I look at paper, the words move. So for me to understand like someone who's not got dyslexia, no wonder that I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me now.
And as a kid, when you don't fit in and stuff, you get labelled straight away. I mean, I think, oh, the naughty kid. Oh, yeah, just remove them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where now, I think a lot of people, guests we've had on, like a lot of people who come on, found out later in life that they've they've had ADHD or dyslexia or whatever. And
I think schools are probably on it more now.
Yeah.
Obviously back then it just wasn't as known, was it? You was just like disregarded, like I said. But I hope that the kids do get help now, because I think if I had the head start in school and college, I could have been even more successful than I am now if I was able to learn like everybody else,
Yeah.
where I had to do it the hard way.
And yeah, like you say, you've done it the hard way. And I like, but you know what though? Would you say like you went to university, considering you didn't have no school life basically? You've done very well to get to uni and stuff. And
Yeah, I think I done makeup in uni, so it wasn't. I didn't go to be a lawyer or anything like that. I think I probably squeezed through. I actually used to pay people to do my work. So like I got a dissertation. You have to do like a 10,000 word essay, whatever. And the night before, I was paying people to do it for me, and I still passed. I went on stage and got my thing. Which I don't know, I'll get arrested for that. But yeah, I ended up paying people to do it. But because I had a business, I had the money, where the other girls in my class didn't have money. They had no choice. They had to learn it. So like they're doing it when I'm paying them. It just shows like from such an early age, I had to work out how to survive in probably not your best conventional ways, but there was no other way for me. So I had to make money so that I could pass. And that's just my mindset.
listen, it's a hustle, innit? Listen,
Yeah.
and everyone's got a hustle in life, you know, and it's one of those. And listen, it come through for you, you know what I mean? But while you were in uni, or was it before uni, you know, like bit of mad, because your dad, I believe your dad was like a salt of the earth fella, would help anyone, give anyone a chance.
Yeah, that was probably the best sentence, but also his downfall as well. So he's one of them people where he would say he could do something for you, and he'd work out how he'd do it after he said that he'd promise you that. I always felt like my dad always tried to give more to everybody. He wanted to be, I think he liked being liked, and he liked to help people, but then sometimes didn't always have the resources.
A people
to do
pleaser,
that.
would you say, or?
Yeah, people pleaser, but also I think he likes to be wanted and needed. My dad is one of them, is just an old school guy. He wanted to be the one that everybody went to, because for a long time he was that person. He employed half of where we come from. We had 50, 60 men that was all in work because of him. We used to like pay, you know, local places to keep him in work and stuff like that. So he's always been a carer and a giver. But then when someone's not got something to give and those people still expect it, that's kind of like when my dad started
like to change and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you know, like you say, your dad's old school and stuff like that, and you know, he likes to help people and, you know, give people chances and stuff. And in life sometimes, you know, there should be places for people like that, but people just manipulate and people take the piss and that, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I think what my dad's problem has been is, my dad grew up in a council house. He had nothing. He literally, again, he didn't go to school. They used to rob tea from the chippy to pay for his sister and his brother. That was his normal. They had not a pound between him, my nana and my granddad. And so his friends, his core friends, was still like that when my dad was kind of growing.
doing what he was doing,
His friends and the people he used to surround with was still around him. So he was kind of in two worlds, and they always collided. And I think that was his biggest problem. He always still reverted back to those people that probably aren't the best, which
it's, you know, his friends with his friends, and it's when it's very hard, you know, it's very hard sometimes to try and break away from what you've known and stuff. And but obviously, you know, his business and stuff like that, and you know, and it's probably, you know, it's, people might say it's, you know, it's not a bad thing to, you've got to try and separate them, but like you say, your dad probably didn't, what's the name, because they were still his friends, and maybe, but is that how the madness and stuff started, was it? And
no, so I think my dad got probably too big for his boots at one point, which again, I was a young girl at this point, so I've always looked up as my dad to be like, he was my icon. He was, if anyone can do it, my dad can do it.
Yeah.
My dad saw it. My dad does everything, and everything he said was so truthful to me, so I took his word for everything, the good, the bad and the ugly. So I kind of learned off him how to, even though some of his choices was bad, how it got him to certain places. Because let's have it right, in business, people say, oh, you get what you get out of life, and if you're good, you get good things, but that's not business. People that do really bad, shitty things still end up really successful. And when you are building a business, there becomes points in that business where it might not be ethical, it might not be the right decision, but if it's money is the end goal, then them things sometimes go out the window.
There's a meaning and way to get to where you want to be at, and I get what you're saying, and there is ways where my meanings are doing things, but like you say.
But as a young girl, I watched my dad kind of juggle some good things, some bad choices, some really bad choices. I kind of quickly navigated that so these people in this world that one can be manipulated. You can also get manipulated. You can kind of do whatever you want and move these pieces around and still not go to prison or not get hurt. So I kind of learned really bad choices quite early on that then kind of helped me get to a certain level, but then also come back on me as well.
Yeah.
And like when we was talking earlier about me selling a business, there were certain things that I'd done on the run up to that where I took my dad's advice and how he run businesses, which then I had to then spend a year putting them right to be able to sell the business. And just, I think my only advice for anyone who's starting a business is, yes, sometimes you've got to be perfect and everything's got to be right, but then a lot of it is based on kind of knowing what to do and when to do it. And look, where I think if you're absolutely straight down the line, sometimes it does take longer to get there.
Yeah.
But it depends what you want out of it in the
There's
end.
a few corners and that maybe, you know what I mean? But
And I'm not saying do that, but
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying is in my story and what I've learned is that sometimes you need a bit of both and a bit of everything involved.
yeah.
Otherwise,
So your experience, obviously, that's where what you're saying really. But like you say, your dad was a lovely fella, and like you say, he made some mad choices. But for you as a family, when did it start, sort of?
So I was about 17. So I think we was in a time where we just thought my dad was perfect. Everything was fine. We thought that I remember my sister even saying something like, "Oh my God, like we're so rich," or something like that. And me thinking, I was only 17 at the time, thinking, "Oh right, so we never have to worry about anything then. Like this is our life now." My dad, we had Range Rovers before we even passed our tests, sat on the drive. So as a young girl, when you've got that mindset being poured into you and the people that was in our life, you think that life's so easy and this is perfect and no one can touch us and this is our normal. But then when shit hit the fan, I think that was a very big reality check, which I'm glad I had, because I think having that mindset, I wouldn't be where I am today if I just grew up thinking that life was perfect and my dad took care of everything.
But when you say the shit hit the fan, Sarah, was that the house being, or was that when you were carjacked? Or was that?
Well, the first ever instance that happened is I passed my test and I went to Subway or something like that, and none the wiser, you're talking about a young girl who thinks,
You're 17.
17 years of age, thinks everything's perfect. Oh my God, my life's amazing. Everyone else doesn't understand. We're a perfect family. That mindset. Next minute, someone knocks on the car, so I open the window thinking, oh, are they lost? Whatever. Anyway, absolutely knocks me out. I fall to the ground, takes the keys off me. I'm thinking that this is just a random attack. So obviously I've gone home and said, listen, this has just happened to me. Like, what's going on? Anyway, I found out that was the next normal of our life, and that my dad had got himself in situations that he couldn't get himself out of. And many people was angry about that, which I understand why they was at that time angry, and why they are angry, because they see this perfect life and people driving around in Range Rovers and they want what's theirs.
And you obviously you're a young 17-year-old girl who doesn't, you don't know the story or the back, what was going on and stuff like that. But for you, that experience, you must have been petrified, you know what I mean? And
that was probably the lightest part of it, to be honest. I think the reality, once it hit and then we was told all the truth and everything, I think from that day forward I changed as a person completely, which I don't hate for. I think I've been angry in my life where I've thought, oh, why didn't I just have a normal life? Why did I have to learn all that? Like, I don't want to. I don't want that for my kids. But in reality, I think it was probably the best wake-up call that I ever had from a young age, because it's just made me who I am today.
It's mad when you say it, like, a wake-up call, and it's scary when you're saying, like, you've been punched and whatever, and, the trauma you must have had from that. But then you say, did your dad tell you, or did, obviously...
Yeah, he told us the details, but he didn't really have to. The people that forced us themselves in our life told us what was going on. My dad went missing for years. He tried to kill himself.
But you had to pick all the pieces up and basically...
Mostly me, because my mum had a nervous breakdown, as you can imagine. My mum's lived this perfect, beautiful life all her life, to find out that that's actually not true anymore, and everything that you thought you knew is absolutely obliterated. So she wanted in good health. And yeah, it was kind of me. I think if I would have been a boy, I probably wouldn't be sat here today. Realistically, I think because I am a girl, I've been treated
a little
bit different, yeah. But yeah, I think I was probably the one that got the most hit, because I felt, when I looked around at my family, I thought, my sister, she's softer, nicer nature than me. My brother was obviously a baby, and my mum was not all there, so it was me.
So you would like
I had to round it up, yeah.
I had like to sort of, like, not the head of the family, but you had to take the reins, sort of like, to look, I've got to sort everything out here.
And I also, these people that I had to speak to, I also empathised with them because they didn't realise the severity of what was going on, and they just wanted what was theirs. So in a way, I understood their anger, but I had to navigate how to speak to these people, because you're talking about the low of the earth there. You're not talking about good, well-rounded people. So for a young girl to navigate how you have a conversation with someone who wants to kill you is something that you have to learn quick, and know how to speak to them and know how to make them feel like you are listening and that things are going to be okay. So that negotiation probably could have got me into politics.
It's mad when you speak about it like that, but even like you're saying, the house being shot at and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm fucking hell, Sarah, that's...
Yeah, so we had, the house got set on fire whilst we was in there. Yeah, we've had really stuff that's you see on those films and you think, God, that doesn't happen in real life, that we had. It got to the point where we was literally, me and my sister was in the house. At this point, our parents aren't there anyway, because we had like panic buttons and things like that. But there was times where we would literally put pillars at the back of us, thinking, oh, if we get shot, it might help a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it was heavy, it was bad. Not knowing every single day what new story is going to come out, what new people that we don't know about. Because at this time, I thought I knew everyone that was involved in this problem. But then as more come on, you think, actually, there might be another person, and there was more, and they just kept coming and coming and coming.
And it was just obviously, they just wanted your dad or whatever and stuff, and obviously you were picking the pieces up, and obviously what you're experiencing it
while still trying to have a bit of a life for myself. So that was what was the hardest thing, because you're still a young girl and you still want to go on nights out, but then in the area that you're from, I used to be scared, thinking, which happened to me multiple times, I'd be in a bar or a club or whatever, someone would come over and say, give me your watch, or I need this off you because of your dad, and things like that. And I had that for years and years and years. And
seriously,
yeah, for years. So like it ruined my life, because then I stopped going out. But then in the same respect, I stopped going out and started concentrating on my business. So whilst all my friends was out drinking and having fun, I was working. So I was building what today...
Where you're at today, like, yeah.
And honestly, it took me 15 years to do so.
Sarah, it sounds horrific, but like what you're explaining and describing, like, obviously you'd always love your dad and stuff, and the situation you got into and whatever, and then when you've got people like that, coming and demanding things, taking things and stuff like that, it must be fucking, if I'm going to be honest, it must be for you as a young lady, being like sort of taking the reins and like trying to look after your mum, look after your sister, look after your little brother.
Yeah.
But also you're trying to get on with life, and most people are probably just like give in.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't give in.
It's hard to give in.
And it's not saying give in to these. You were trying to get on with your life and stuff like that. But when you're explaining them type of things to me, Sarah, I'm thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
But like you're saying, your business, you had like the salon and stuff like that, where you'd be like, you've been working all week and stuff, but then there'd be fucking people waiting outside to take your takings and stuff like that.
Every single pound, yeah. Every time, every week, constantly. But I'm still trying to pretend to my friends in the salon like everything's fine. People heard whispers and everyone knew.
Were you putting a front on that?
Oh yeah, this is why I have so many different personas of like all my businesses have different me. One of my businesses, everything's beauty in this, and you can build this business, and then the business fixer, I'm quite cutthroat, I'll tell you what's what.
Yeah.
My personal one's very family. I have all these different personalities because I'm good at that.
Yeah.
I've always been able to go, oh yeah, see you later, knowing I ain't seeing you later. I've got to sort my dad out this situation. I've just found him in a church.
Could you just switch like that?
And I can just do this, and then I can also give you advice on this. And it's like I've built up so many different personalities because I've had to deal with so many different people and different things in my life. But again, bringing this back to business, how I've utilised that in business has been amazing, because I've been able to speak to that many different audiences and kind of change and adapt who and what I am and what I believe to all these different people, for them to buy and sell, for me to sell them what I'm buying at the time.
I mean, when you mix it up like that, it's mad, because going from absolute, catastrophic fucking stuff going on in your family life, even being, I'm not being funny, at 17, you're still a kid.
Yeah.
But then you're having to like become an adult overnight, and you're speaking to the scary people. Do you know what I mean? They're not messing about like what you've just described there, house on fire, shot at, carjackings. I'm sorry, any one of them, any one of them like traumatic experiences for anyone,
Yeah.
their life, some people don't ever recover from that.
No. And I think with me, everyone, like all my like close friends and stuff, always say, oh, you need to have therapy. I was actually speaking to someone the other day about it, but I already know, and this sounds quite like, I don't know what the word is, but I already know everything that someone's going to tell me, and I know my problems are today because of them situations. Like I have problems with money, I always want more, I always feel like, people say, when's enough for you? Like, what is it that your end goal is? And I know that I have problems with money because I never want to be in a situation like how my dad felt, where you've not got enough of it.
Yeah.
And I understand all it, like the backload that I've got because of this, but I also don't want to change who I am as well. So I don't know that that's right or wrong, but I like how I am now.
That's you. You know, it doesn't matter what other, you know, if that works for you, that works for you.
Yeah.
Some people might watch and go, oh, well, no, but that way, if that works for you, Sarah, you know, you've got to go, listen, at the end of the day, don't change something if it's not broken, do you know what I mean? And if it works, it works. And it's good that you explain it like that, but like you're saying, having to learn life quickly and who you can trust and all that, because trust must have been a big thing for you.
Oh yeah, like some of them would be like, oh, we'll look after you, just deal with us and we'll be the ones to
having
look after
to pay
you.
them to like sort of like...
Yeah, but then them thinking that we go, oh, you're our hero, but me knowing inside you ain't no hero, you're just better than the others. So I'd rather deal with
They're
just
trying to
this one.
extort you really, aren't
Yeah.
they? You
So
know what I mean?
I've had to kind of like manipulate which one out of the bad bunch is it that I'm going to be on, so that then we've got a bit of protection from this, and just like navigating between them all, but also still knowing in my head that you physically can't trust any of them at the same time.
You're not getting fooled, you know. You know what I mean. You've learned quick on the, if I'm going to be honest, from an early age and stuff, and I'm just mind blown, because that's just like what you've just explained. I mean, to go through that and whatever your dad was involved in and whatever, you know, and you know, you had to pick the pieces up, and you as a family didn't, but you were sorting it, and you were getting. But to go through what you went through, you know what I mean? But, do you know, like, the push for it all to, like, was it part revenge or, like, survival? You know, the lifestyle, you know, was it your mindset and stuff like that?
You mean for afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always been under my dad's shadow, so whether that's true or not, I've always felt like that. Everyone I meet, I always think, oh, do you know my dad? Do you already know all that, what's gone on in my life? So
people are judging you before they've even spoken to you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've always had that. So I've always had to prove that I'm not that. And I've always had to kind of overprove myself that, look, I've got I earn my own money. It's no one can take this from me. This is mine and this is what I've built. So it's definitely always been that, but more so in Lee, it's more for my kids that I want them to see success, but also that no matter what happens, that you can still always rebuild yourself. Because one thing about my dad, which it massively inspires me, is that he's still to this day trying and still always getting up every single day. People in that position, they would have crumbled and died years ago. Like, he still has major pressure every day, and he still gets up and does it and always stands by his word. So I want to be able to do the same without...
It's in you, innit? It's in you, you know what I mean?
I am very like my dad, but that also scares me. And I think that's where a lot of my panic comes from, because a lot of the things with my dad, I look and I think, it reminds me of the things that I do, which cautions me, because I think I don't want to end up like some of the situations, but yet you can't help who you are. You can't
help who you are and stuff like that. And like you're saying there, it's, you know, whatever you've gone through and stuff like that, what you just said about your dad, he still gets up and he still...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's great to hear that he's... Because, like you said, a long time ago, you know, a lot of people might not still be here. And it's a lot of...
I think the reason why he's still here is because even though the problems he got himself in, everyone still loved him. He was still one of them people. If you ever met my dad, you would just go, I get it, because he's just got such a good soul. He would rob from Peter, but he would pay Paul. And like that,
I think a lot of people do though.
That homeless man, he'd take from him, the richest man, whatever, but then he would look after the people that need it.
He looked after his own. He looked after his own.
That's the person that he is,
yeah.
Which he's always done.
So obviously from there, you know, I think we're going to fast forward a little bit or whatever, but tell me if I'm right or wrong. But hiya everyone, sorry to interrupt this episode, but here's a quick one from me. If you're enjoying the podcast and you enjoy what we're doing, you can now buy us a coffee. It's a simple way to keep those stories coming. No subscription, just that one-off bit of support. The link's in the description. Now back to the episode. By 25, in lockdown, you made your first million, is that right?
Yeah. So in lockdown, I have always done well with like I said, with makeup and stuff like that. I was always kind of like the first out of my crew to always do something that before went viral. When I opened Invisalign, which I was talking about earlier, which was like a PMU academy, I always said to my husband, I was like, I just want to make £1 million, just want to make £1 million.
Was that your aim? That was your goal?
Yeah, and you just think, well, it is when you just think, oh, it must be great if you've got £1 million. And I remember finding out, all right, we've got to that milestone, and I remember feeling the worst I've ever felt, because I didn't feel what I thought I was going to feel, and
like an anticlimax. You thought what it was going to be, this mad
like it was
feel
just
great, and then
I
it
was
just
so obsessed with money for so long, thinking I just want to be rich, I just want to be rich.
Was it obsession? Was
I
it?
was so obsessed with money. Yeah, everything. This is why I ended up
from an early age. Did you think that's where it's obviously
from thinking I need to pay these people, but then also once that kind of fizzled out, and I want more. I want to be better than everybody. I want to have more money than all of them now. I want to make sure that I'm really secure.
You wanted to prove, like...
Yeah, I wanted to prove myself. But yeah, when that happens in business, I think I was naive to think what £1 million should feel like. But when you have overheads and you have all the building, the staff, I was more depressed than I've ever been. And then even still, and you think, right, but that's a milestone. I wanted 2 million, I wanted 3 million, I wanted 4 million. So it didn't do anything for me. So then that is when I decided to sell the business. And it's crazy because the business was earning more money than it ever has, and I made the decision that I didn't want to do it anymore. I used to look at the people that was paying for these courses as numbers, not people wanting to train from me. So it was like all these girls saving up all their money to give me, and I just seen it as money. Yeah, book them in. How much have we got now?
You're just seeing how many clients are going to be on there.
Yeah, they just ended up numbers to me, and the actual service itself, I didn't have that in me anymore. So that's when I knew this business isn't right for me.
It's not
I
right
need
for
a
me,
business that doesn't emotionally affect anybody else, and I need to do something that fulfills what I want without giving somebody something. And I don't think a lot of people admit that.
But that's what I was about to say. That takes a lot to admit that, Sarah.
Yeah.
And listen, you know, coming on and opening up like that, because you're being honest, because of what you do now, which we will speak about a little bit further on, but to actually openly admit that, that takes a lot of, you know, bollocks to do that.
I could see it happening, because at first when I sold my first course and there was like 5 or 6 girls, I remember thinking, they're all there for me. Oh my God, like I can't wait to be telling them what I do, and I was dead excited by it. And the more it went on, I remember I used to think, how many's in? And I used to put my personality on, pick one of my personalities that I had, and this day we're going to give you this advice, this day it's going to be this, and it was just not authentic to them. And that is when I just thought...
That's when you started, lost the love for it, like...
And yeah, and when the money weren't doing it, but then they're still just numbers, I thought, this is when I have to exit now. Someone else needs to take over this business who's going to give them what they need. Someone
who's going to take it, you know, it was already at a level, but... Just...
Emotionally, yeah, like that connection. People want to feel something when they it's so hard to get a pound out of anybody this day and age, and when they give you that pound, oh God, do they want all?
Do you want more?
They want everything. They want your career. They want everything you've ever done. They want 20 years worth of knowledge in one course. And in the end, I just thought, I can't give you that now.
I haven't got it.
Because what I would teach you, what I've done to get here, you wouldn't want to hear anyway, and it wouldn't be right for you.
Yeah, of course.
You're not going to do what I've done, so I haven't got the right advice for you.
So you sold it, and you sold it and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I sold it, and I was happy with like coming out of it, and yeah, it was a big achievement for me, because like I said, I didn't want it anymore, but I was also weirdly like shocked that why am I selling a business that's making so much money? It was a weird thing for me at the time.
But you know, when you say that, Sarah, it's like anything. It's about your health and stuff. And listen, money's great, right? Yeah, it helps you do a lot of good things. And this is just a conclusion that I have, is like, but you take all the money, take that £1 million or £2 million or whatever amount of money you've got in the world, whatever pain you've got in there or whatever's in your head, that amount of money will never fucking go away.
No, absolutely not. But I think you need experience in the run up to it.
Yeah.
To have it, to understand. Like you watch these podcasts with these rich, famous people, and they go, oh, you need to find this, and money's not everything, and you've
got to go for the good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, it's all right for you. You're rich, I can say that. But until you have that run up and you finally get whatever goal it is you've got, I think that is when you have that pivotal moment. And that's always going to be a moment for me when that happened.
Yeah.
What I expected was the complete opposite, and he actually sold it off the back of that. Where most people go, year 2, let's go. I thought, no, this doesn't serve me anymore.
But like you say there, it's like the highs and yeah, that's great and stuff like that. But what you said there about what people don't understand about business as well is like, people just see that you're like, oh yeah, you've got. They don't understand the overheads. They don't understand like the staff and they got the outgoings and suppliers and the fucking sleepless nights. The sleepless nights.
Oh yeah.
You know, lying on the pillow, tossing and turning, and like your partner, you know, your husband or your wife or whatever.
He was watching me disintegrate.
Yeah, and it's like, have you had any sleep? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Eyes like that, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just you work to, you know, to make the business work, but you also have that worry in the back of your mind to make sure everyone else who's working for you, that everyone gets paid, you know, your suppliers get paid and all that. And I just think people don't understand how hard business is.
No, until they give it a whirl.
Yeah, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they?
And I absolutely applaud them people that have tried and think this isn't for me, I'm going back to a normal job. Or I couldn't do that because of what's inside me now. But I have got friends who've like tried it and then think, oh, you can have it. I don't even want the hassle of all that. And I understand, because you've got to be somewhat mentally not well to be able to continue with the business.
I think you're totally right. I totally agree.
Because normal people would think, this doesn't feel nice, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to do something nice instead. Where you've got to have, well, I've never met anyone who's like really successful in business or got multiple businesses that's not got that kind of thing that we're talking about, where you just think, no, I need to do this, or there's something with them that makes them want to be unstoppable. And I just think unless you've got that little bit inside you, then it'll never reach where it is that you want to try.
You got that what's name inside. It's like just you want to keep going. And listen, I wish anyone in business the best of luck with it. You know what I mean? And I hate it when, you know, we see the word hate. I mean, when small businesses fail and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, and listen.
Oh, they fail more than they do success.
Exactly. And like you said there, people just sort of like, you know, listen, you've had a go. Yeah. And look, and business is very tough, like we're just discussing now. And
but for me to have the business I've got now, I put a reel on the other month actually, and it was all the logos I've had in all my life. And there was something like 65 logos on it.
65
of different, where I've gone,
brands.
I've got an idea, another idea, and that's excessive. Someone would give up after 10, and you think, right, that one's not worked. I've had loads of things that failed. I brought eyelashes out when I was 20 or 21. Brought them to the UK. There was mink, so there was animal. I didn't know what I was ordering from China. I just thought, oh, this will be a good thing. I had that many activists against animal cruelty. I got cancelled offline, and I thought, wow, I can't even sell these now. And that was bad, and that failed.
The decision that you made, yeah?
Yeah, but I thought, oh, just without researching, and that's what I mean by, my dad's always been a go-getter, but he's never done the research and the, right, let's calculate these moves now. He's always been run for it.
Like a business plan and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and just,
where that's what I'm now trying in this era of my life, to go, don't make a rash decision. Let's actually have a look at this now. Which brings me to the business that I'm actually doing right now, which I've never done one like this before, where, again, this will be 66 now, 66 ideas. I'm not putting my face on it. So anything I've ever sold, it's always been me. Hello,
you're the
to the team, it's me.
You're the face of it, aren't you?
Making up names on emails to go, there's loads of us, we're all here. No, it's always been me. I've always been the one who's put the businesses out there. But this time, I'm bringing out a product that's not going to have my face on it. So it really is the biggest test I've ever done to myself, to see whether, if it can be flogged without me, then it's a successful business in my eyes. So I've kind of, it's not about the money, because I know I've earned money in other ways. With this, if this becomes a success, then I've cracked business. This is my mission to myself.
Yeah. What does your husband say about it all?
He says I give him an headache. But to be fair, he understands me more than anyone, and he understands my mission. And don't get me wrong, we've flip-flopped in our life, because obviously we've got 2 kids. When I had the babies, he was working on the oil rig, so he was looking after us, and it's been times where we've been like,
it's about balance.
Sometimes he covers, sometimes I've covered, but our main things, like buying our house and things like that, it's always been me, because I'm the drive behind it.
But you know what I was going to say to you about see, you must have already read my questions, but something that's very special to you, you know, considering what you've spoke about, and you went back and you bought your family home.
I did, yeah. Some people would say
You know, some
crazy.
people would go, she's absolutely balmy.
It was
but what
nicknamed the House of Death and all sorts.
Was it,
I
yeah?
bought it. But again, psychological mission for myself.
Was that something, when you achieved what you were doing in business and all that, I can see, you know, like, you're so what's-her-named about stuff, but anyone who watches this or listens to this, will listen to what we've already spoke about, would be like, why the fucking hell would you want to go back to that house?
Yeah.
After all that, you know, after all the stuff that went on.
Yeah.
But there was something that you wanted to buy it outright, and it was yours, and it was, you know what I mean?
I kind of wanted to, because I was always running from every situation. I was always running away from my family, running away from the confrontation. Even in businesses, like, I'd get my money and I'd run now. Like, I don't want to deal with the aftercare. I don't want to deal with the customer community. I was always abandoning things. And like, I went and lived in Australia for a year during all the madness to get away from it for a bit. And I was always, I dispose of things very easily. That's what I tend to do. And like at Invisalign, when I just thought, right, I'm done, I'm selling, I'm moving on. Where with this, they needed to go anyway. They'd been there too long and it was causing problems financially and obviously all their kind of like stuff. That they've been trying to sell it for a couple of years, and I just had a bit of an epiphany and I thought, you know what, I can help them get out of this. And what better, tried to go through before and someone set it on fire whilst the buyers was buying it. So they've come to move in and someone had done that. So it was tamed. There was never no one ever wanted to live there. It was the street, everyone known that house, the police had always been there. It was just a bad omen. As you can imagine, when I said to my husband, I'm buying it.
What was his reaction like?
No chance. We've got kids, it's not safe. How do people know that he's not there anymore? Like, all of them thoughts. Which is natural.
Natural, yeah.
But for me, I just set myself a mission that this is, because the house is beautiful and also my memories, that house sums up how my whole life played out and how I am.
You're at.
Yeah. From being a kid thinking, oh my God, we're rich, this house is amazing. Everyone at school used to call me the pony girl because there was ponies at the end of on that estate. And from me having them thoughts to then, oh my God, this is scary. Then the house was scary. And then also being there as an adult and watching my mum and dad in that house and coming to visit them and thinking, God, everything was always doom and gloom, to now watching my kids in that house and building it into something that I love, just feels like the best mission that I've ever given myself.
Like a decision that you've made. It's like, even though your husband was like, fucking hell, what are you playing out of here?
No.
Do you know, because I'd probably say that to my missus if I'm on it.
And honestly, Jamie is like, anyone who meets, he's the nicest person in the world. He's the most straight, he's the best thing in my life apart from my kids. Jamie first, always. And I always take his opinion, but this time...
You wasn't budging?
No.
Typical woman, not budging.
No. And I am so glad I've done it.
You really?
Yeah, we've had people knock on, thinking obviously like who's here now and stuff, but I think I've made enough, and this is why I've always probably been on social media, done these things, because I've made enough waves from my own mouth that if people really wanted to see, they know I've done it myself. And I do get left alone. No one bothers me anymore because of that. Because
you've worked so hard.
And I think they let that be now.
Yeah, because like you say, look, the past is the past, and you know, a lot of people, you know, it's been dealt with and it's sorted, but you're moving on with your life, and you know, at the end of the day, your own young family, you know, your husband and stuff, and you know, you're doing things in life where, you know, that's gone, that, you know what I mean, and you know, and you've moved on with it all, but you can see that desire and that fire, and you know, just meeting you like an hour ago or whatever, and you know what you've explained to us, it's like, fucking hell.
You know, there'll be another logo.
Yeah, that'll be 68, I think, or whatever.
Absolutely will. I might even make a logo with me. You never know. I tend to reel people in and start businesses with other people as well.
No, bloody hell. But listen, you know, building businesses and helping others, this is a test of your true ability to help others on your personal mission.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, so with the business fixer, it's that was a little bit of like a passion project of mine, because even though I wanted to abandon Invisalign and the people that wanted me in that sense, it was because I couldn't give them the answers that they wanted, because of what I'd done to get there, where when I look at people's businesses now, I feel like I give them a different eye of how they can do things, and I'm very creative, and I had all these ideas, hence all the stupid logos, but all these ideas, but I just could never get them off the ground. So it's good for me to come into businesses and say, look at it from this way, but then step away after my time's done with them. So they'll pay me for like 6 to 8 weeks of like a mentoring session, and then it's theirs to do all the big stuff.
They're on their own then. Yeah.
So like I give them my little touch, and then I'm on to something else, which is perfect for me, because that's, like I said, with me abandoning things, I can just go, this is everything I think's amazing, you build it.
So that what you do, you basically go into businesses 6 to 8 weeks of like,
and basically fix whatever their issue
is, whether it be, why, they're not doing as well, or sales, or whatever,
and you find a lot of it is because especially this day and age, the girls and the people that I work with, they're all just copying what they think they see on Instagram, and not actually what's actually happening in businesses.
Their own authenticity, having your own. It's like anything, you have your own spin. Like there's many podcasts out there, brilliant, you know what I mean? But we have our own spin. We do our own little, we just get in our own lane.
You have to just stay in your own lane.
Listen, we wouldn't sign them. There's so many fantastic ones out there, but we just do what we do. And I think in business, there's many businesses that are very similar. But you've got to have your own
flair,
your own spin on it, your own flair on it, and stuff like that. But is there many businesses that you go into? What businesses do you go into? Or?
A lot of it's like within the beauty industry. I have worked with like a couple of medics and stuff that are trying to get into aesthetics, but it's all very much in that era because I've had businesses within that area. I'm apparently better to talk about
the
that.
Experience, you've got the experience, yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's not even about the industry. It's just about helping someone, like you say, who's give it a go, who looks and thinks, how have all these done this? And it's quite a lot of the time quite simple. It's not like massive things that they need to change. It's just putting your face out there and, like you say, being authentic and stuff. But I think the way that I come across, I'll say things that people probably don't naturally say.
But you know what, there's no sugarcoating in like in things like that. Some people you can go around and step on eggshells and but you want to get to the
the main route.
And listen, sugarcoating and being all nice is, listen, like you just said, something can be so basic, but to them
they've never done it before, so they don't know. And I just like coming in and saying, what's your goal? And also everyone's goal is different. When someone said to me, my goal's £1 million, my advice to them is going to be something that I probably wouldn't talk about on Instagram, because it ain't going to be perfect, because if I want to do it. So and that is what I'm truthful with them about. So I'll say, look, if you want all these clients, you need to speak to them in this way, how I do on this page. And if you want to speak to women, you need to pull on women's heartstrings. If you want young girls, then you need to be posting Molly May. Like, it's simple. You've just got to find your audience, speak to them directly. But if your goal is to be this big, rich millionaire,
without doing all the hard work, without doing the graft,
then you've got to cut the corners. And if you're willing to cut the corners, then you get your problems. But you still have your money. So what is it you want? There's different routes.
You're teaching people the right way, where there's, look, like we said before, we can cut corners and stuff like that, but consequences sometimes come along. And
they do.
And listen.
I've been in court with someone over stuff that was my fault, and I have done all that by following what I've seen. And don't get me wrong, you get your money, but do you want all the problems?
But do you want the headaches?
Yeah, do you want the headache? And at the time when all you see is money, you think, no, I don't care, I just want the money. I've done it many, many times. But then when it comes to it, really, when you've got that money, it don't feel the same. Apart from, I know I'll feel,
you've done it the right way.
If this business is a success, I know that it will feel euphoric for me to know that this has been done just purely because the product sells itself and that it works, and it's a business that's grew itself, and not with all the crap that comes with it on social media.
That's it, innit? But you know, one other thing I want to speak to you about, the book you're writing, The Kindest Criminal. Yeah. Tell us about it.
So it's, the actual word of it, The Kindest Criminal, is a little bit like, you think it's going to be about criminal activity. It's not. It is very much a business book based on the two sides of business being good and bad, and kindest and criminal, and how thin the line is. And in my experience, what I learned from watching my dad all his life in his businesses, and kind of picking out the things that I would utilise again and things that I wouldn't, but also with like nostalgic parts between my dad and some of the stories that he's told me about business and things like that. But I genuinely think it will help people, because there's so many people I watch, mentors, that speak out and they forget all the the bad stuff they've done to get where they are, and they just tell, oh, this is all perfect and we've made all this money,
But they haven't said
but they've done all this. So actually showing business owners at the start, listen, this is what real people are doing in business. They ain't paying certain bills.
Yeah.
They ain't pissing about with all this stuff. They're not doing all that, and that's why they've got that. So choose your lane and understand, be educated on everything, and then make your decisions, because I think that's the best way. I had to learn, like I say, through whispers and all these different things, where if someone gave me a book that showed me the good and the bad and the ugly of all of it,
Yeah.
I would then be able to make decisions knowing the consequences at the end of it. If you don't pay VAT, you get a problem.
Fucking hell, yeah.
But I'm business, think, do you really have to do this? People don't know that, and I've spoke to them, these young people that start businesses, and they think, well, she mustn't do that, or this, they said this, and all the different advice they get. If you just get the facts of both sides, and then you can make a decision based on that, and hopefully it's a success for them.
That's exactly, what you've just said there is like people not understanding, the good, bad and ugly of business.
Yeah.
And like you say in your book there, is explaining, this and that. Look, you can get to that, but you've obviously
and just know that the ones that are at that very, very slim chance that they've done is green all the way.
Yeah,
it's not true.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. I've done it. It's not true. It isn't true. So I think if you can read something that shows you both, I think that would be a massive asset to anyone in business.
Yeah.
I know I would like it.
When is the book, is it ready or published, or is it?
No, not yet. I'm still
just in the process of,
I'm
obviously.
still in the process of it. I'm hoping that next year we'll be ready to put it out
Definitely,
there. Which again, I think I'll probably get love and hate on both sides of that. But it's honest, and that is all I can
But that's
do.
the best thing. I think honesty is the best policy, if I'm going to be honest. And like I just said, you can sugarcoat things and be all nice as pie, but listen, real and raw's that's the best way in life. You can't bullshit in life and stuff. And if someone's doing something wrong or whatever, you gotta go, fucking hell, you're doing that wrong there, or you're out of order there, or whatever, and you don't pussyfoot round and stuff like that. And I just think some people in business anyway, you've got to be at it. You know what I mean? And
you've got to be educated, I think, and it's so hard when you've not got the experience. And
I'm still learning, mate. I'm still learning many things.
And bloody hell, me too. And this is a new side of business that I'm doing now, which I'm not educated on. But
you're doing the learning and all that about it?
Yeah, I'm going again, and I'm understanding how to do a business in this category. But I think education is everything. And if you can't educate yourself on something that you're trying to do, you're pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
You're literally not going to get to them goal marks of what it is that you need. You've got to research, and you've got to listen to people that have already done what you want to do.
Yeah. How did the title, the business fixer, come about? Was this one of your light bulb moments, or when you told your husband, what did he think?
Yeah, he was just laughing because because I was actually called. I put myself as the strategy coach, again, another logo. But I thought, I'm not a coach. If you're coming to me to be coached, then you'll leave a mental health. I haven't got the skills to coach you about your life, but what I have got is ways and means of how to fix something in business, because I've done it. So there's actually a program, my husband watched it. Do you know what a fixer is?
I seen, was there a series or something on?
Yeah, so it's basically you ring them if you've got a dead body, or if you're a football player and you've slept with someone and they've died during the night, or on drugs or overdose or anything. You ring the fixer. He comes in.
Do you know what I've seen it on a drama? And I'm sure I've seen someone mention the fixer, and that's what.
Yeah, so that is obviously.
Like the mafia and that, don't you?
Yeah, so basically you ring them if you've got a problem that you can't ring the police for, basically. So with obviously my past and all that, it's just a play on words of the sense that the world that I have been bred on, with also being in business, and also sometimes you do just need to ring someone who knows a bit of something.
Yeah.
Can you help me? I've got a problem. I need a fixer, basically what it comes from.
So the business fixer.
Yeah. You look at it different now.
No, and I'm not. No, I'm not. But I think it's great, because there's always like behind a title of like your business or a brand or whatever it is. It's like ours. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone goes through good, bad and ugly. Yeah. So I can relate to that, where you can say, because from where you're from and stuff like that, and what you've grew up around, look, that's maybe it, but then the business mind comes into it. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I totally get it. And
I just wanted to be someone that if you've got a problem, if you was messaging someone, a coach, a mentor or whatever, but you had a problem about something that you know was probably a bad choice, or someone's complained and you don't want to give them the money back, or real business stuff that we all face, and you was going to speak to someone who's, oh no, you shouldn't do this, and maybe just do that. You want to speak to someone who's going to give you advice based on true experiences and something that might not always be perfect. And that is literally the avenue that I've come from.
Yeah, yeah.
I want people in business to come to me if they've got a question or they need help in something that no one else can fix.
Yeah, yeah. What's the most common mistakes you see business owners making?
I think this day and age, especially like over the last 3 years, a lot of the problems are because everyone solely relies on social media, and businesses need more than that. You need data is massive, which people have massively disregarded data with, especially like a lot of these in the beauty world, people just think, oh, post a video when you get clients, where
A database is obviously a big thing.
if the internet went down tomorrow or people stopped using it, you've got no business. And that is what I'm trying to grow now. But yeah, I think a lot of the time people forget that social media is entertainment. It's not necessarily just used for business. So if we're doing TikToks and dancing, if we're trying to contact Joanne who wants a haircut, she doesn't care if you're doing a dance. So if you're trying to be famous and you're trying to get views, brilliant. But if you're trying to get customers, your average customer don't care about your trends. And I think that is one of the main conversations that I'm always having with people. Don't follow all the crap on Instagram. Like, you need to think of who you're trying to sell to and what are they doing today.
Yeah. And like you say, within that, like what you're saying and being honest there, because there's, like, don't get me wrong, social media can be great for advertising and stuff like that.
And for something like yourself,
yeah.
it's perfect, pure
but if you're, like you're saying there, you've hit it on the head there, if you're a hairdresser or whatever, you don't want you know, the girl who's cutting your hair jumping around with a pair of scissors and fucking spraying it, you know, hair lacquer about and that, you know what I mean?
It just makes it look like you've got too much time. So where's all your client? You look like you're failing because you're trying too hard. And number two, the people that are booking you for serious treatment, say you're offering treatments for 300, 500 quid, but then you're dancing over here, people don't want to give you 300 quid. You're giving them entertainment. It's not the same. I think we need to go back to basics a little bit.
Interaction with your clients and stuff, and you know, you're providing a good service, you know, they're happy with it, and, you know, and they're gonna return. But when you put it like that, it's like, because social media does play a big part in business.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, you see a lot of businesses now with adverts and stuff like that, but certain businesses,
I just think if you're a service business, there's many, many ways to be gaining clients rather than spending all your day just doing entertainment. Unless you're if all you're doing is entertainment, then you're in the entertainment business.
I think it's like, obviously there's a lot of people out there who are like content creators, but that's, you know, that, listen, it works for them, you know, because whatever they do, they have hundreds of thousands of followers and whatever, and that's great. But obviously businesses like, you know,
and don't
certain businesses that doesn't work for them. Do you know what I mean?
And even like me, like I do a lot of stuff like this on my personal and to build the persona of me so people know about me, so that then they'll buy all my different personalities of all the different stuff that I sell, because I've got other businesses. But the actual businesses that I run, I don't sing and dance on them. So as a person, they can check me out, but then the businesses, they all have fully thought out channels of
real and raw, and you just up front and that's, like I say, that's probably the best policy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just go back to basics. If you've got a business and you need to find out who your audience is, you need to find out what they do day to day and find a way to sell to them organically instead of all the trends and stuff.
Yeah, of course. What's the biggest fix you've ever had to take on, or you've taken on?
Myself.
Seriously?
Probably, yeah. I've definitely reinvented myself a few times. Like I said, them lashes, bloody hell, that was a fix and a half. I don't know how I got away with the animal cruelty.
So do you know when you got, like you said that before, you've ordered all these
£5,000 worth of
£5,000 worth of stock?
Lashes, yes.
And did you say
I binned them all. Yeah, I couldn't sell them. It was rabbits.
Was
it's terrible.
Was it all what's name online and that, like?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've had loads of hate online a couple of times. Different.
How do you deal with that?
I've had worse, haven't I?
No, listen, what you've said to me, I know that, but, you know, being what's name now, because you know what, Sarah, you have been through a fucking madness, do you know what I mean? But, you know, your mental health and that, you know, I know you're tough and that, because of what you've been through and, you know, from an early age and stuff. Now you've got kids and, you know, you've got a great husband and all that. But, you know, when you have some downtime and stuff like that, listen, your fucking mind's doing that.
Yeah.
Do you ever think, fucking hell? Or you just that, what's names? Because I'll be honest, like, you know, we all put a front on and that, you know what I mean? And we all go, you know, the family, you know, I'm the dad and I'm the mum or whatever, and, you know, you don't let your kids see them. But sometimes inside you fucking like,
I'm done.
This day's fucking, or this week or this month or whatever.
This life.
Yeah.
My biggest thing that I do, what gets me down the most, is that I feel I should be further on. And that is something that I always think, I should be further on than this. Because I've wasted my time doing other stuff that I've failed, I always think, oh, I should be 10 steps ahead of anyone. And I do get jealous as well, which is not a nice trait. I look at people and I think, how have you managed that? What is it you've done? We went to Cannes last week, me and my husband. We sat round like all these places. We're poorest in Cannes, by the way. Everyone else is there. We're literally like, we're the poorest here, but it's a stunning environment. Looking around thinking, what does he do? And I do get jealous.
I just think that's a woman thing in general, because you could go anywhere for food or whatever, and my missus and that, and it's just like, oh, I wonder what they... Listen, I think that's a woman thing, if we're going to be honest.
But I just think, no, but I want to be... But I said to Jamie, what's wrong with me? Because I want to be him. I would trade, I'd be him instead of me. Like, I want to be... I'd really rather be a man.
Do you always want more?
I just want to be able to say, I've done it, I got to that. And like, but what's hard is, and I've seen a quote and it's so true to me, is when you're constantly changing the bar of what you want, it's impossible. And that is me all over. Like,
you're raising the bar all the time.
All the time. Like, now it's not even just, I thought when I get that house, and I always said to myself, I just want that house. I want the house where the kids always come. I just want that feeling of having, like, oh, I've done it. And now I want to sell it. And I want to move to Australia, and then I want to do this. And it's like, it's constant for me. It's just the way I am.
But it's you know, your husband, Jamie.
Bless his soul.
He must be like, what else? You know what I mean? And listen, like us all, you know, our missuses and stuff, and like, you know, when you're always, you like she say to me, Tony, fucking, I'll give it a rest, will you? Or, you know what I mean?
So it's like reversing your house.
Yeah, it is reverse, and my missus is chilled. Do you know what I mean?
But I think you need that. If Jamie went how he is, I think it would be a nightmare. You need one that's, like he'll say, put your phone down now, babe, let's have a minute.
My missus says the same to me, you know, we're a sort of, what's the name, that we're like the business and then like the podcast and then, you know, other bits to do and stuff like that. And now I just, that look, and I just go, oh, for fuck's sake, what the fuck?
Yeah. So you still sat there thinking,
yeah.
Must remember that and that
and
that.
Do you know what I mean? But is there ever a case where you've had to walk away and say, this cannot be fixed?
Not so much anyone else's businesses. I've always been able to finish what I started with everybody else. But there was a time when I had a business with somebody else, and she absolutely robbed me. It was really bad. She was the face, I was the brains, so she was quite famous online. So I basically built the business in the back. I was the one who was dealing with all the logistics and everything of the business. She was the pretty one, so she was blasted everywhere. This is what made me kind of put my face on everything after this, because I kind of put the control of the business being known under her, thinking that we'll always be fine. Anyway, long story short, I got us a deal where we was opening different clinics in Vienna and places like that.
Abroad and all that? Yeah,
with a surgeon, massive business deal, amazing deal. Anyway, she went behind my back and said to them, we need to cut her out or I'm not doing it. So they rang me and said, look, we need her, she's the famous one, like what can we do? And I lost that, and I lost the plot. That was probably... Do
you know what, that's wrong. I mean, listen...
It was a doggy move, but it was my fault because I let her get away with that because I wasn't educated enough.
Like contracts and that, you mean? Or...
I wasn't ready for that sort of situation, and I think I learned, as much as I can't bear her, I once looked up to her because I used to think, oh, she posts a picture and she makes this much a day, and I never seen money like that. I couldn't believe it. I thought she was amazing. She'd done aesthetics. I thought, wow. So she taught me a lot in that sense of how to manipulate social media. And then when she manipulated me, I basically asked her for half of her business, went up to her. She used to rent a room off me. I said, listen, we can do something here. Give me half of it and I'll take it places. She did. So I should have knew. Someone who hands over 50% is going to take it back just as quick, isn't she? So that was a big lesson for me, because I thought, someone who's easily going to do that, at the time I thought, oh my God, I've smashed it.
And backdoor, you just see you later.
She just disposed of me and never spoke to her again. Yeah, I took her to court and stuff, but in the end I walked away.
If someone's feeling depressed, the business is spiraling, what's the first step to take?
Pause. Make no decisions. I think you need to, I've done it myself, where you think, don't work on emotion. If you're feeling emotional, if you've got anything in your personal life, or you've got to make decisions and someone's pressuring you, just do nothing. Within 24 hours, the mind can be completely different state of mind than it is when you feel
erratic. When you're erratic and
yeah,
stuff.
I've made decisions where I think, oh my God, I wouldn't have done that today. I can't believe I've just sent that message or whatever. So I think if you feel like you're spiraling, just pause. At least for 24 hours, do nothing.
What, just go off, just take time out?
Take time and write it down, like just pen and paper, write it down. Write down what you think the problem is, and there's always a way. And if there's not a way, close it, shut it, and go again. I think people are so scared reinventing
Solution is a
themselves.
solution.
There's always a solution. And if there's no solution, then get rid of. You can also, like, walk away. People think that when they're already so far in, you can't do anything else. But I think it's one of the most amazing things you can give yourself. If doesn't suit you anymore, just leave. That is what is humanly possible.
With businesses and stuff, like, because you know, like anyone watching this, like you say, you know, with being a business owner myself and stuff, but like people who I know who've got businesses who are, you know, looking, you know, if things aren't going well, but like say for instance, like you've got leases and stuff like that and all that. How does all that, you know, because that's a worry for a lot of people as well. You know, with like.
And that's one of the problems. Like when I meet people and they say they're self-employed or they go down that route, I think then you're obviously in a lot more problems and danger within your personal life. But just even being limited, you're protected, which people don't understand what different routes you can go down to protect your own self. Because realistically, the business doesn't need to be you. Some of my businesses that have been failing, that doesn't mean I'm not going to go on holiday. It's the business. So as long as you disconnect yourself in somewhat way from a business, then your life doesn't have to fail. But that business might be failing. It doesn't mean you are. Where some people are very much attached. I think you can fall down a bit of a spiral, and it can feel like the world's on your shoulders. But essentially, there's a reason why you can open a business and shut it if you need to, because you're not the business. You work in the business.
Really, yeah.
That's what I think.
Right, no, that's really what's the name, you know, really interesting information and stuff like that. But future, what do you think the future holds for small businesses in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think, well, what I hope is first is that social media, because TikTok's changing, people aren't wanting to sell on TikTok shop anymore. So the culture of quick buy-in and put it in your cart and click and everyone's getting into debt for all those type of businesses, I think that's definitely changing, and people are not going to be spending as much on them apps anymore, which I think is necessary, even though it's made people millions. I think it's definitely necessary. The culture of this online shopping is just outrageous, and people are going into debt for reimbursing the same products they've already got continuously. I've seen it. I've got friends that sell products and they're making £1 million a month on selling these products, and the people that are buying them are claned up to death, and it's not necessary. It's a very toxic culture.
Really? So that's like a domino effect, which is like...
And which they don't realise that, and they're just, obviously want to sell millions of, because TikTok can give you money towards obviously selling them cheaper. So it's like a craze, because they think, oh, I'm not going to get it this cheap again, so I'll just get more and just constant. I think that could definitely turn over the next few years, because a lot of organisations are realising that, and people are getting pushed into debt all the time. So I think if you have got a business that sells products, you need to be working on your marketing through email and getting people on your websites, because if you're relying on those platforms to sell, if they turn around tomorrow and say, we're not selling products anymore, there's no shops anymore, then where are your clients finding you? So always merchandise your clients back to your website, send them postcards out on the birthday, little things.
So you've still got that database and stuff
so that
like
we've
that?
still got them over on your actual business, and we're not relying on these platforms. I think that's something that people should be thinking about now, because we can't rely. Instagram and TikTok we weren't selling things 20 years ago on there. So who's to say in 5 years' time that we can still sell on them platforms? Get everyone on your websites, get everyone who knows your brand, get their details, and you own them. Don't let the platforms own them. And I think small businesses at the minute, all forward facing, everyone likes to see the owner and their life and what they're doing, which I think's nice, but also I don't think eventually it's going to be accepted as much. Like I said, with like the entertainment side of things, people can begrudge putting money in someone's pocket whilst they're on private jets and posting all these fancy cars. Buy my product so I can do this. So I think there's a fine line between the personal branding.
You've got to have that balance of like, you know what I mean, just depending on what you know what I mean, because like you're saying there, customers are like thinking, why the fuck am I gonna?
Why am I buying all these flashes on a third holiday?
You know.
So if you're going to build a community, I think personal branding should be about the person and not the lifestyle. I think lifestyle culture has massively took over. People are falling for looking at people's lives, but again, the people that are doing this content are getting themselves in debt to keep up this lifestyle. So the brand looks like it's doing well, but the business could be failing because they look like they're doing well. It's just very conflicting. I think personal branding is one thing, but showing lifestyle based on a business sales can be conflicting.
Yeah, but you know when you just hit it right on the head there, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
that thing of social media. You can portray that everything's all good and all hunky dory, but really it could be fucking.
Yeah, and then you never get your product, but then she's on a private jet. It's just.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do personal branding, my advice would be speak direct to the camera. Don't show your life. You don't need to, you tell them what they need to hear. You don't have to show them your real life.
Whatever that product is or whatever, you know, you're selling.
They want your experience on that.
Everything else is, you know,
It's
keep
your
it,
life, yeah.
yeah.
You don't need to put everything on social media.
Yeah.
But people sit there and think, I need to do more content. I'll do a day in the life, and then you're showing them every single step. But why? It's not making more money. It's just making more hype. So if you want money, that you don't need to show your lifestyle personally.
Of course, yeah. How can people obviously contact you, Sarah? What, like, you know, on social media platforms or websites and stuff like that?
All of them. So on the Business Fixer, if you want me for the business, just DM. I always work on DM. I always get loads of DMs.
Yeah,
My WhatsApp's everywhere, and I get the odd messages on there. But just DM me on any of them.
So you're on Instagram?
Yeah.
What
Business Fixer, or then my personal one, which is Mrs. That's Sarah Larner.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, so they can contact you on there. And have you got a website or anything like that? Or
no, I actually don't have a website. Not for this business.
Yeah.
Obviously, I sell machines as well with my other companies. I've got websites on there, including my aesthetic devices.
But obviously, they can get you on socials and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Family life today. What's family life for you like today?
It's definitely hectic with a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. The arguing is non-stop. Both girls, traumatic. But to be honest, my family life is the best bit of my life right now. I did a post the other day saying, like, I've always wanted to rush, I've always wanted the next thing, but I'm very cautious that right now is my favourite times, and I would love it to stay like this.
Yeah. Your husband and that as well, he puts up with a...
Oh, he absolutely puts up with me, bless him. But when I met him, he was very much the opposite to me. He always had a job, he worked for his family business, and he didn't really understand my brain, where now he's got his own business. He's very self-efficient. He's like, his company's doing amazing. And I would like to say my mentalness, he's learnt that on the way, in his own way.
You've got a lot to what's the name for it, behind it, like...
Yeah, because his mum and dad have always just had 9 to 5. They never thought you could have a business. So being around me and seeing, oh, she's got 92, so there must be something here. I think he's made his own thing, but he's doing really successful. One thing about Jamie is he's not a corner cutter, so everything he does is perfect. If you need anything doing, you ring Jamie. He'll put your telly on the wall, he'll fill your car up, he'll make you a meal, and he'll do whatever. He's like an all-rounder, perfect.
He's like an army Swiss husband there, like,
Yeah.
you can do everything, do you know what I mean? But
he's the better side of us, to be honest.
no, that's brilliant, that's great, it's great. And listen, he's on side, and, you know, you can see, like, you know, sort of like, my missus is a bit like that towards me, Tony, when he's like the one who's like, listen, you know, and you need that balance, and
Yeah.
you need that, you know, that's what you want, and, you know, you're a good team by the sounds of it and stuff like that. But what's in the pipeline for Sarah Larner?
Just this business, which I'm obviously like, I'm not putting my name to at the minute, but yeah, I'm just building this. I've kind of fell off the grid a little bit.
But it's all getting in the background.
Because I'm building this, and that, for the first time ever in my life, I'd say it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done, because I'm trying to do it right.
Listen, that's
the truth. Like, usually I'd go, oh, it'd be right that. I'd be sound. Like my dad grew up with my dad saying, oh, it'd be right. That was his motto.
Instead of cutting them corners, you're doing it the right.
I'm doing it like that.
So
it's hard.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's hard.
No, but when it's all ready to, you know, you're ready to put it out there and stuff like that, that'd be brilliant, you know what I mean?
But do you know what's hard though? Like, I feel like unless you already know everything, and unless you've got money to invest, then no wonder people cut corners, because I feel sorry for people starting out that have got nothing, because it's impossible. It's actually impossible. I've sat with him so many times and said, this is an impossible.
Yeah.
No wonder people aren't doing it.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Because you need that money to back and stuff,
Yeah.
or whatever, investments and stuff.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's like, you say, people cutting corners and stuff, and sometimes that's the only way that people can, but like you say, with what you've got in the pipeline and stuff like that, I'm sure to God it'll all come good and all that.
One day, if it's a success, which will be the only chance to put my face on it, I'll come and sit down and tell you what it is.
We'll have a part 2, 1,000,000% and all that. But no, listen, Sarah, I just, you know what, I knew a little bit, you know what I mean, and just explaining like situations going on for your childhood and stuff like that. And listen, there's many people like us who you know, grew up on estates and stuff, and but then, you know, when you have like catastrophic stuff go on, like what you've explained, it's like, wow, how did she get through all this? But to see where you're at in your life now, and to see what you do and how you help businesses and your own businesses and stuff like that, it's fucking, you know, you got to be very proud of yourself.
I am sometimes. Like
Sometimes.
I always want something else, but I am, because, yeah, I think some of my closest friends, they who know me well, they would say, like, I don't know how you've got to this point, but I am proud of myself.
But listen, you've got to be proud of yourself, and like you say, you've got a lovely young family, and you've got a fantastic husband and stuff, and listen, the only way is up by the sounds of it. But listen, I just want to say, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing the good, the bad and the ugly. Thank you.
No problem, thank you.